Number 10, yes. Good afternoon, sir. Could you please state your name and provide your date of birth?
Stephen Ball,
Mr. Ball. Mr. Ball, you're here on a Superior Court new case. I find probable cause for the allegations. 1 count of aggravated assault using a simulated deadly weapon. It's a Class 3 felony. 3 counts of disorderly conduct using a weapon or dangerous instrument, Class 6 felony. I've appointed you an attorney. You have a status conference October 17th, 8:31 a.m. Preliminary hearing October 21st, 8:31 a.m. at the downtown Phoenix Superior Courthouse. Mr. Ball, I am setting bond in the amount of $75,000. That is a secured appearance bond, meaning that you can pay that directly or work with a bail bonding company. They generally require 10% plus collateral. 10% of $75,000 would be $7,500. If you pay that bond, you will be released. You're then promising to go to court on all of your court dates. You will have an ankle monitor installed, and you must comply with pretrial services for supervision. You also must comply with the standard conditions and restrictions of release. In addition, you're not to return to the scenes of the alleged crimes. You're not to initiate contact with any alleged victims, complainants, or witnesses, or have any physical contact with any alleged victims. You're not to possess any weapons, and you must submit to DNA testing at the arresting police department. Mr. Ball, do you have any questions?
Sir, there was no attack on any humans whatsoever. It was a BB gun. This is crazy. I'm just saying. It was a BB gun, and there was no attack on any humans. Okay, so, I mean, I don't really have any questions. I guess I have to go with your flow, but I said that. And in the past, when I have showed up, when I had pretrial release, I mean, I don't see why my own recognizance.
Yeah, so Mr. Ball, let me explain. So, multiple people thought that you were pointing a firearm at them, and so you may not have known it, but you have terrorized multiple people who were scared to go back to areas.
You people have terrorized my life. I'm done listening to you. Thank you for setting my life to hell. Can I go back in here?
Thank you, Mr. Ball.
All right.
To your left. All right, Jeremy Solorzano and then Joshua Garcia will be on deck. Good afternoon, sir. Could you please state your name and provide your date of birth?
Jeremy Solorzano.
All right, thank you, Mr. Solorzano. Sir, you're here on a Superior Court new case. I find probable cause for the allegations. 1 count of discharging a firearm at a residence. It's a Class 2 felony. 1 count of disorderly conduct involving a deadly weapon or dangerous instrument, a Class 6 felony. 1 count of criminal damage, a Class 6 felony. 1 count of theft, control of lost property, a Class 6 felony. I've appointed you an attorney. Your case will be heard at the downtown Phoenix Superior Courthouse. You have a status conference October 17th, 8:31 a.m. Preliminary hearing October 21st, 8:31 a.m. Mr. Solorzano, I am setting bond amount of $50,000. That is a secured appearance bond, meaning that you can pay that directly or work with a bail bonding company. Ruby, I need to edit this slightly. Bail bonding companies generally require 10% plus collateral, so that would be $5,000. If you pay your bond, you will be released. You're then promising to go to court on all of your court dates. You also will have an ankle monitor installed, and you must comply with pretrial services supervision, as well as with the standard conditions and restrictions of release. In addition, you're not to return to the scene of the alleged crime. You're not to initiate contact with any alleged victims, complainants, or witnesses, or have any physical contact with any alleged victims. You're not to possess any weapons. You must find an alternative residence, provide proof of the same to the court, and you must obey the terms of any order of protection or injunction against harassment that has been issued or which may be issued. You also must submit to fingerprinting at the arresting police department. You may have no contact with any victims of the alleged offense for any reason, even if they contact you first. You also may not reside at the same location as an alleged victim, even if you are an owner or renter of the residence. You are entitled to 1 civil standby. That's where you contact local law enforcement, schedule a time to meet an officer who will escort you to the residence so that you can obtain your essential belongings. Mr. Solorzano, do you have any questions?
I have an attorney, that can modify the...
Yes, so I've appointed you an attorney, and you can talk to your attorney about modifying the bond.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Solorzano. Joshua Garcia and then Hazel Richards will be on deck. Good afternoon, sir. Could you please state your name and provide your date of birth?
I'm Joshua Anthony Garcia.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Mr. Garcia, you're here on a Superior Court new case. I find probable cause for the allegations, one count of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon or dangerous instrument. It's a Class 2 felony. One count of aggravated DUI because your license was suspended or revoked for a DUI. That's a Class 4 felony. 2 counts of assault, a Class 1 misdemeanor. 2 counts of disorderly conduct, fighting, a Class 1 misdemeanor. I've appointed you an attorney. You have a status conference October 17th, 8:31 a.m. Preliminary hearing October 21st, 8:31 a.m. at the downtown Phoenix Superior Courthouse. Mr. Garcia, I have set bond in the amount of $35,000. That is a secured appearance bond, meaning that you can pay that directly or work with a bail bonding company. They generally require 10% plus collateral. 10% of $35,000 would be $3,500. If you pay that bond, you will be released. You're then promising to go to court on all of your court dates. You'll have an ankle monitor installed, and you must comply with pretrial services supervision, as well as with the standard conditions and restrictions of release. In addition, you are not to return to the scene of the alleged crime. You're not to initiate contact with any alleged victims, complainants, or witnesses, or have any physical contact with any alleged victims. You're not to possess any weapons. You must obey the terms of any order of protection or injunction against harassment that has been issued or which may be issued, and you must submit to DNA testing at the arresting police department. Mr. Garcia, do you have any questions?
These assault charges with a deadly weapon, what did I use?
You used a bottle.
I used a bottle? I wasn't even drinking out of a bottle.
Well, I don't know what you were drinking out of, Mr. Garcia, but what the police are saying is there is video footage of you using a glass bottle and hitting someone on the head and injuring that individual as well.
Huh, okay then.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Garcia.
Yeah.
Hazel Richards and then Daniel Dude will be on deck. Good afternoon, ma'am. Could you please state your name and provide your date of birth?
Yes, Your Honor. Hazel Richards.
Ms. Richards. Ms. Richards, you're here on a Superior Court new case. I find probable cause for the allegation of one count of burglary in the second degree. That's a Class 3 felony. I've appointed you an attorney. You have a status conference October 17th, 8:31 a.m. Preliminary hearing October 21st, 8:31 a.m. at the downtown Phoenix Superior Courthouse. Ms. Richards, I have set bond in the amount of $10,000. That is a secured appearance bond, meaning that you can pay that directly or work with a bail bonding company. They generally require 10% plus collateral. 10% of $10,000 would be $1,000. If you pay your bond, you will be released. You're then promising to go to court on all of your court dates. You will have an ankle monitor installed, and you must comply with pretrial services supervision. You also must comply with the standard conditions and restrictions of release. In addition, you're not to return to the scene of the alleged crime. You're not to initiate contact with any alleged victims, complainants, or witnesses, or have any physical contact with any alleged victims. You're not to possess any weapons. You must obey the terms of any order of protection or injunction against harassment that has been issued or which may be issued, and you must submit to DNA testing and fingerprinting at the arresting police department. Ms. Richards, do you have any questions?
Yes, sir, I have a question. I went there last night because my ex-boyfriend sent me a picture of the lady who he cheated with. And then last 2 weeks, we agreed about he gonna leave the door unlocked so that I can pick up the rest of my stuff for my 16 months old baby, the toys, the car set, the stroller, and then my queen size frame bed and the headboard, and then the couch. When I was there last night, Your Honor, they were in the bar, and we agreed last 2 weeks that I can go in the back because he leave it unlocked for me to get the rest of my stuff.
Okay, so so the police are saying that the victim has video evidence of you throwing items across the bedroom and breaking them.
No, I did not throw across.
And that it shows you pushing over shelves, shoving items off of counters onto the ground. And so if you were just going over there to move stuff, you wouldn't be throwing things, you wouldn't be knocking things over.
No, I moved the playpen that he already packed it for me, for the baby, our baby is 16 months old. I mean, he's angry with me because I broke up with him Monday, and then he threatened me that he's gonna kill himself, and then the gun is faster for him to kill himself. I have a screenshot for that one too.
Okay. Well, and so, Ms. Richards, I mean, you may have evidence that's different from this. I have to go with what the police have written here, right? And I've determined that there's probable cause. And the state constitution requires me to set a bond based on a number of factors, one of which is victim safety, which I am concerned about here. The other is the likelihood, you know, considering whether you will appear in court. And so I'm concerned about that as well. So I'm going to keep the $10,000 bond in place.
Your Honor, I'm a single mom with 2 kids, and I'm only the one that is providing for my 16 months old. He doesn't help me at all.
Well, and Ms. Richards, but the problem is that again, the state constitution requires me to set a bond in order to.
I did not do anything. I did throw the trash, that's it, but I did not throw. I just pick up my things in there. I have stuff because I was in and out in that house because I decided to move out because I was in an abusive relationship with him.
Okay. And Ms. Richards, I mean, I don't know what happened regarding your relationship, but again, the police are saying that they saw a video of you pushing over shelves, shoving items off the counters and onto the ground.
The shelf that I push is mine, Your Honor.
But even if it's your shelf, I mean, if it's at his house, you can't break property.
I mean, me and my 16 months old is in and out in his house. We stayed there last month once a week because he wants to spend with the baby. And after he gets mad because I broke up with him, that's when. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it sounds to me like, you know, you two may need to work something out in family court regarding parenting time and things like that. But again, I'm going off of this information that I have.
He's not helping me with the baby at all, Your Honor.
Well, and so, Ms. Richards, again, you can also go to the family court to get child support set up if you don't believe he's helping you. Do you have any other questions, Ms. Richards?
I did not do anything.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Richards.
Thank you, sir.
Daniel Dude and then Brandon Warner will be on deck.
Oh, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, sir. Could you please state your name and provide your date of birth?
Daniel Dude, 7.
Thank you, Mr. Dude. Sir, you're here on a Superior Court new case. I find probable cause for the allegations of 1 count of aggravated DUI because your license was previously suspended or revoked for DUI. It's a Class 4 felony. 1 count of DUI, a Class 1 misdemeanor. I've appointed you an attorney. You have a status conference October 17th, 8:31 a.m. Preliminary hearing October 21st, 8:31 a.m. at the downtown Phoenix Superior Courthouse. I have set bond in the amount of $3,500 in this case. You have a $500 bond in your probation case. Total bond is $4,000. Secured appearance means you can pay that directly or work with a bail bonding company. They generally require 10% plus collateral. That would be $400. If you pay your bonds, you will be released. You're then promising to go to court on all of your court dates. Also, beginning on your first court date, you will start drug and alcohol testing and monitoring. You also must comply with pretrial services supervision. You have the standard conditions and restrictions of release. In addition, you are not to possess any weapons, you're not to possess or consume any alcohol, and you must contact your probation officer within 72 hours of release. Then, Mr. Dude, regarding your probation warrant, it's not a warrant, this is an alleged Term 1 probation violation. I've appointed you an attorney. You have a probation hearing October 18th, 8:30 a.m. at the downtown Phoenix Superior Courthouse. Bonds in the amount of $500, as I stated earlier, with those same conditions and restrictions of release. Mr. Dude, do you have any questions?
Can I be released to pretrial service?
So unfortunately, Mr. Dude, you have 2 DUI arrests since 2019, and anytime you get behind the wheel after you've been drinking, you are putting the public in danger. Yeah. So the state constitution requires me to set a bond based on a number of factors, most importantly of which is public safety. Yeah. I do find the bond is appropriate.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Dude. Brandon Warner, and then Michael Hernandez will be on deck. Good afternoon, sir. Could you please state your name and provide your date of birth?
Yeah, Brandon Warner.
Thank you, Mr. Warner. Mr. Warner, you are here on 2 Superior Court failure to appear warrants. One's for an ongoing case, the other is probation violation warrant, failure to appear. So your probation hearing will be October 18th, 8:30 a.m., downtown Phoenix Superior Courthouse. I've appointed you an attorney. I am affirming the bond in both of the warrants. It is a $2,500 bond in each warrant. Total bond is $5,000. Secured appearance means you can pay that directly or work with a bail bonding company. They generally require 10% plus collateral. 10% of $5,000 would be $500. If you pay your bonds, you will be released. You're then promising to go to court on all of your court dates. You're also promising to comply with the standard conditions and restrictions of release. In addition, you're not to possess any weapons, you're not to possess or consume any alcohol. You must submit to fingerprinting at the arresting police department and contact your probation officer within 72 hours of release. Then, Mr. Warner, regarding your ongoing case, you have a status conference October 17th, 8:31 a.m., preliminary hearing October 21st, 8:31 a.m. Again, that's at the downtown Phoenix Superior Courthouse. As I stated, bonds the amount of $2,500, same conditions and restrictions of release. This case also has, you would be required to comply with pretrial services supervision. Mr. Warner, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I can't afford, I'm homeless. I just literally just started a job and I just got into the Windermere and my dad just died last week. There's no way that I can come up with a bond. I don't have anybody to secure it for me. And I'm going to lose my housing. I just got a job with the voting registration for the temporary job for the next 28 days. And I can't afford to lose that. And then I'm going to lose housing. And if I don't, I've gone to every court date. The only reason I missed this last one is because my dad died and I was in the hospital when it happened. And I even showed up at the court. I even showed up there. I was 15 minutes too late to talk to the judge. And I spoke to the court secretary, and I contacted my lawyer, and my lawyer is supposed to be filing a plea for a new hearing date, or I believe is what he said. I paid my bond last time. Trying to get my life in order, and
The problem is, Mr. Cole, you've had your probation revoked previously and been reinstated, and then you haven't maintained contact with your probation officer.
Yeah, that was a total mistake. That whole situation was a mistake.
Well, I know, but it's happened a number of times that you haven't maintained contact.
It's just happened that once my probation officer is changing. They're changing the probation officer, assigning me a new probation officer, because I was having an issue with mine. My mom was having an issue with mine, and I've dealt with that. I will contact them straight away on Monday. I just need, Your Honor, I have done everything I can to better my life and get out of this homeless situation. And if I stay in this homeless situation, I'm afraid of what's going to happen. I've never asked anything. I've paid the bond. I've done everything. I just need one chance, Your Honor. That's all I'm asking for.
So, Mr. Warner, the power is in your hands, sir. And if you don't maintain contact with your probation officer, that this is the inevitable result, and you've been given additional chances, right? And then you still knew if you didn't maintain contact, this is what would happen. This is just the consequences of your own actions, sir. You're wanting me to do something, but you're not willing to do the thing that you need to do.
I am completely willing.
But you haven't, sir. That's the problem, is you want me to do something when you haven't shown that you're willing to do it.
Okay.
So I wish the situation was different, Mr. Warner. If you had self-surrendered in this case, I would have no problem releasing you.
I didn't know I had a warrant.
But if you fail to appear, then you have to know there's going to be a warrant.
Well, because I know I spoke to my attorney. I had my attorney assigning me or filing the plea for the new court date. My mom and I just talked about this. I don't want to be in this position, and I'm going to lose my job and my housing. I've worked so hard for 8 years to get.
I know, but sir, I don't want that for you either. But again, you are the one who's had the power to make sure that you didn't have to lose those things.
Because I had a problem with the probation officer. She had an argument with my mom, and it got heated, and it was really ugly. And no excuse for me. I understand. I do. I'm begging you to please give me one more chance. I'll call my probation officer. You can throw me away you can cancel my probation, you can extend my probation, I don't care. I really can't lose my housing or this job. It's the only thing I have.
Mr. Warner, the problem is, sir, is that, again, you're making excuses not to comply with probation. I get you may be upset with your probation officer. I believe it is difficult. I believe it's extraordinarily difficult to comply with probation and to do things that you're told to do that you don't want to do. I 100% believe that. But I also believe it is possible to do it. If there's a problem with the probation officer, you reach out and say, hey, I need a new probation officer. You do it the right way, but you still maintain contact with your probation officer. Because once you don't, then you're saying, hey, you know what? I don't want to comply with these conditions anymore. I know better than these orders, and these are things that you've agreed to, so you don't have to go to prison. So I wish the situation was different, Mr. Warner. In the future, make sure that you don't let any excuse get in the way, because this is the inevitable result. So thank you, Mr. Warner. Good luck to you.
So I can't have it reduced at all?
No, the bond, I am keeping the bond in place.
I don't know. So then when can I get out?
So if you don't pay the bond, then you'll see the judge on October 18th.
So I'm going to lose the job in housing.
Michael Hernandez and then Paul Vaccaneri will be on deck. Good afternoon, sir. Could you please state your name and provide your date of birth?
My name is Michael Hernandez.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Sir, you're here on a municipal court new case. I find probable cause for the allegation of one count of assault, which is a Class 1 misdemeanor. I have appointed you an attorney for limited representation regarding the bond issue only. You have an arraignment hearing at the Peoria Municipal Courthouse, October 15th at 9 a.m. I am setting bond the amount of $2,500. That is a secured appearance bond, meaning you can pay that directly or work with a bail bonding company. They generally require 10% plus collateral. 10% of $2,500 would be $250. If you pay your bond, you will be released. You're then promising to go to court on all of your court dates. You're also promising to comply with the standard conditions and restrictions of release. In addition, you are not to return to the scene of the alleged crime. You're not to initiate contact with any alleged victims, complainants, or witnesses, or have any physical contact with any alleged victims. You're not to possess any weapons. You must find an alternative residence, provide proof of the same to the court, and you must obey the terms of any order of protection or injunction against harassment that has been issued or which may be issued. You may have no contact with the alleged victim for any reason, even if she contacts you first, and you may not reside at the same location as an alleged victim, even if you are an owner or renter of the residence. You're entitled to one civil standby. That's where you contact local law enforcement, schedule a time to meet an officer who will escort you to the residence so that you can obtain your essential belongings. Mr. Hernandez, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Paul Vaccaneri and then Dion Rachel will be on deck. Good afternoon, sir. Could you please state your name and provide your date of birth?
Paul Michael Vaccaneri for
Mr. Vaccaneri. Sir, you're here on a Superior Court probation violation warrant for alleged violations of terms 3 and 5. I've appointed you an attorney. You have a probation hearing scheduled October 18th, 8:30 a.m. That's at the downtown Phoenix Superior Courthouse. I am affirming the bond in the warrant in the amount of $1,000. It is a secured appearance bond. That means you can pay that amount directly or work with a bail bonding company. They generally require 10% plus collateral. 10% of $1,000 would be $100. If you pay your bond, you will be released. You're then promising to go to court on all of your court dates. You're also promising to comply with the standard conditions and restrictions of release. In addition, you're not to possess any weapons, you're not to possess or consume any alcohol, and you must contact your probation officer within 72 hours of release. Mr. Vaccaneri, do you have any questions?
Yes, sir. I didn't even know I was violated. I was 3 days away from not contacting her. I've been contacting her every month, and
I mean, I'm doing the best I can. Being homeless is difficult, especially having nowhere to sleep, having to be ran off by the cops here and there, the city here and there. You can't sleep here, you can't sleep there. It's not easy, and I've tried and I've done everything that I possibly can. I do have an opening on Valley-Wise. It's next week. That is a detox center, and they help you get into rehab. And you don't choose where you go; they choose for you.
Yeah. Well, and unfortunately, Mr. Vaccaneri, I mean, here's the problem, Mr. Vaccaneri, is, I mean, you know, maybe you really are planning to go to Valley-Wise.
I got proof of everything.
Well, I understand, but sir, you told your probation officer you were going to do that at the beginning of September.
And I did, and I set it up, and it's next week. I did do it.
You said you were going either today or tomorrow.
I set up an appointment. I did go. I just never reported back to my PO. I did go. I just never reported. That's it. And as my problem is, I don't have a telephone every day to report every day, and you know that's no excuse. It's my fault.
Yeah. So right, because I mean you've been violated multiple times, sir. So I mean this is the inevitable result if you don't maintain that contact. So I am going to keep the bond in place. Thank you, Mr. Vaccaneri. Good luck to you.